Yes, that's 2018 too many, but what about the crimes of atheism? Crimes committed not 500 or 1,000 years ago, but in our lifetimes, in the last century, by atheist regimes in the name of atheism. Richard Dawkins says, well, they didn't do it in the name of atheism. Oh, really? Have you read Marx's Communist Have you read the Communist Manifesto? Have you read the works of Lenin? Have you read Stalin, Mao, Hitler? All of them wanted, not simply, they wanted to create a new man and a new utopia, liberated from traditional religion and traditional morality. And so they followed Dostoevsky's maxim, if God is not, everything is permitted. These three atheist dictators in a space of 4 decades killed more than 100 million people. I'm not even counting the second tier of atheists. I'm not counting Pol Pot. He has about 2 million. Fidel Castro, Ceausescu, Kim Jong-il. The list goes on. My point is atheism, not religion, and most certainly not Christianity, is responsible for the mass murders of history. The bottom line of it, folks, is that we live in a world where human nature, as Immanuel Kant said, it's the crooked timber of humanity, out of which no straight thing was ever made. Everybody has done some bad things, and some bad things have been done in the name of religion. But on the balance, when you compare the things that were done and the good that was done, we see that Christianity has come like a light into the world. It has made what we call Western civilization and all its values, it has made the world a huge degree better. At the end of it, I think we can all say, even Michael Shermer, thank God for Christianity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dinesh, for encouraging me to project a little bit better. Our next speaker is Dr. Michael Shermer. He is the publisher of Skeptic magazine, a monthly columnist for Scientific American, and an adjunct professor in the School of Politics and Economics at Claremont Graduate University. Dr. Shermer's latest book is The Mind of the Market on Evolutionary Economics. His last book was Why Darwin Matters, Evolution and the Case Against Intelligent Design. And he is the author of science fiction, Where the Known Meets the Unknown, The Science of Good and Evil, Why People Cheat, Gossip, Share, Care, and Follow the Golden Rule, and How We Believe, Science, Skepticism, and the Search for God. He is also the author of Why People Believe Weird Things, on pseudoscience, superstitions, and other confessions of our time. Dr. Shermer has an MA in experimental psychology from California State University, Fullerton, and a PhD in the history of science from Claremont Graduate University. Dr. Shermer?
Good evening, how we doing? Yes, how we doing?
All right.
All right, thank you, good. Yes, well, it's good to be here, and I had a really weird thing happen. Let's see, are we picking me up here okay? Can you hear me all right? Let's just check this. All right, how about that now? There we go. Okay. The voice of God has spoken. How many Christians, by the way, are here tonight? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry. Look at the time. So, today I had about an hour and a half to kill after checking in at the beautiful downtown Hilton Garden Inn here across the street. And so I put on my suit and I went out for a little walkabout. And, well, this weird thing happened. About a couple months ago, I was in Las Vegas and I went to a magic show, Penn and Teller's magic show, in which the final act of the show, Penn and Teller do this double bullet catch where they shoot shoot a .357 Magnum across the stage, and they catch the bullet in their teeth. And to prove that they're not doing some sleight of hand, even though of course they are, they have volunteers from the audience come up and sign the bullet casing in the one, and then sign the bullet itself, so that after the guns are fired, you can see that the bullet casing is still in the gun, and the bullet that's signed has now gone to the other side of the cage and is in the other guy's mouth, right? Anyway, so I got to be one of the volunteers to go up and sign my bullet, right? So I went up and I signed the bullet, and the bullet catch happened, and of course, I don't know how the trick is done, but it's done very well. And anyway, I got to keep my bullet. So I put this bullet in my jacket pocket. It was this coat I was wearing today that had the bullet in it. I completely forgot about it. Anyway, so I walk out of the Hilton Garden Inn, and just as I'm going around the sidewalk, I hear this noise from above, the fourth story up there, and I look up, and it's a crazed evangelist has heaved a Gideon's Bible out the window, and it comes hurtling at me. The Bible strikes me in the chest. It would have gone right through my heart if it weren't for that bullet. Stopped it. So I think that's a portent of things to come tonight, because I have to sort of turn things around a little bit. I want to make 5 points tonight in my 25 minutes. I used to be a born-again Christian. I went to Pepperdine University, where we went door to door witnessing for people. We used to call it Amway, sort of Bible, Amway on Bibles, something like that. And then later I became a born-again atheist, and I went around to those same doors and basically took it all back. And then I became, I guess what you might call a militant agnostic. I don't know and you don't either. It's a bumper sticker I once saw. I think that best summarizes it, or the old joke, what do you get when you cross a Jehovah's Witness with an atheist? It's someone who knocks on your door for no reason at all. So the answer to our question tonight is Christianity good for the world? The obvious answer is it depends. I mean, this is like asking, is government good for the world? Well, which government? I mean, religion is a huge, complex, socially entrenched entity that does all sorts of things, good and bad. Personally, I support, my favorite charity is World Vision. It's an evangelical Christian group because it works, and one of my best friends is head of their PR department. I adopted a little girl through them and so on. So there's plenty of good things that religion does. And the problem with a confrontational debate like this is, of course, his job is to tick off all the good things, and my job is to tick off all the bad things. And really, of course, the answer is both. And the question on the table then is, in balance, in the main, is Christianity doing slightly more good than bad, or slightly more bad than good? And I'm reminded of Winston Churchill's description of Americans, when he said, you can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. And I guess that's my sense about religion. You can always count on religion to do the right thing after it's tried everything else. Eventually they do get around to it for other reasons. So, my second point then, since it's clear that we're debating a complex issue, which Christianity and good for whom? Catholic, Protestant, Evangelical, Mormon, Episcopalian, Pentecostal. According to the 2001 World Christian Encyclopedia, there are no less than 33,820 Christian denominations. 33,000 worldwide Christian denominations. Which Christianity is doing the good and which is not? And good for whom? Individuals, society, communities, political states? What are we talking about? This is not defined. I mean, we have Protestant Christians determined to murder Catholic Christians over turf and politics in Northern Ireland. This is not good. Mormon Christians who belong to the fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints, believe that it is acceptable to force 13-year-old girls to have sex with men 5 times their age. This is not good. Pentecostal Christians who indoctrinate young children at Jesus camps into becoming warriors for Christ, who are willing to kill for their Lord. This is not good. Evangelical Christians who believe so strongly in the sanctity of life that they blow up abortion clinics and murder doctors. This is not good. Or Catholic Christians whose priestly pedophile program of, in the words of my friend Christopher Hitchens, no child's behind left. This is not good. Speaking of homosexuality, my third point is a case study of what's wrong with religion today, especially with Christianity. You guys are really missing the boat here on homosexuality and gay marriage. You'll get around to it eventually for other reasons, as my Churchillian quote said. The overwhelming evidence from science shows that gender preferences are primarily determined by genetics and prenatal biochemistry, especially embryological hormone balance. Almost everyone is born attracted to members of the opposite sex. A tiny percentage, maybe 1 or 2%, maybe even less than 1%, are attracted to members of the same sex. So what? Asking a homosexual when he or she chose to become gay is like asking a heterosexual when he or she chose to become straight. Nevertheless, on this particular issue, Christianity remains mired in pre-civil rights, pre-enlightenment, pre-scientific, medieval, barbaric thinking, basing their beliefs on a single biblical passage, Leviticus 18:22, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind, it is abomination." This quote, by the way, this commandment, is tucked in between other passages that instruct parents to kill disobedient children and to execute adulterous wives and non-virgin brides. That's right, the death penalty for adultery. Well, if we impose this today, this would immediately eliminate a good number of Christian congressmen and senators, preachers, and televangelists. You might ask yourself why some of these preachers and politicians like Ted Haggard or Larry Craig are so obsessed with being against homosexuality. Methinks the gentleman doth protest too much, as we've now seen in those two cases. Whenever somebody obsesses about gays, you might suspect them of something else going on there, in my opinion. Anyway, as a consequence of this embarrassing lapse of Christian charity and Jesus' doctrine of love for all humanity, Christian preachers and writers, theologians think nothing of tormenting gays by telling them that their desire to love another person of the same sex is an abomination, by telling them that they have a disease that can be cured through a treatment. These treatment programs, by the way, involve things like watching football. I mean, it's so pathetic. It's something you would see as satire on the Stephen Colbert Report. And that promiscuity is evil, but that the single best prophylactic against promiscuity, marriage, is legally banned from them. Christians actually believe that they're being charitable by proclaiming that they hate the sin but not the sinner, which is not dissimilar to what Christians declared just before torching women for allegedly practicing witchcraft in order to save their souls because we love them. Or when Christians called for pogroms against Jews for being Christ killers. May I point out that if Jesus had to die for your sins, that means somebody had to kill him. So instead of hating Jews for this, you should thank them. Judas should have a statue in Jerusalem as the hero for the guy who did it. Anyway, Mark